because there are lots of people in Nigeria who paid for a sponsorship and never got it. Never got the sponsorship. Now the question is, what's going to happen to the victims in the UK? What's going to happen to them? Home Office, basically, the visa will eventually be curtailed. Okay, and they will have 60 days to either leave the UK or make another immigration application. But bear in mind that there are also a system that Home Office has put in place, whereby, for example, if your company's sponsor license has been revoked, there's a program where the Home Office will allow you to stay in the UK legally until your visa will expire. And within that time, there are things that you can access to try and get another sponsorship. So I think they offer like counseling, or they offer something like a job center, similar to like a job center. Yeah, the Home Office offers that sort of service for people who came to the UK. Their visa has been curtailed because their employer's sponsor license has been revoked, and they give them that grace period to try and find another COS. So practically you're in the UK legally until that visa expires. All right. So there are cases where the Home Office does not immediately cancel your visa, but there are cases where they would cancel it immediately. Yeah, or give you the 60 days period. But some people have been getting a longer period to sort themselves out. All right. But that's the knock-on effect. If you pay for a COS to come to the UK, expect the unexpected. All right. Expect to eventually don't have a job. Expect to eventually have no shifts. All right. So it's best, do not use an agent. Go directly to the company. Do your research on the company. Don't go to an agent, and do not spend so much money for a COS. COS is under £400 to the Home Office, and it's paid by the employer, not the potential employee. Sometimes people pay for these COS and never get them. You never get them. And remember, when you pay for a COS, you still have to then do a skilled worker visa. And you may not be you might not get your skilled worker visa. So it's a risk. It's a risk that you're taking. Be careful. Be careful. Okay. So let me see. The article went on to state, no more scamming. Enough is enough. Whether you like it or not, all of you are going to get reported, she declared. That's one of the protesters. Okay. We are here waiting for those who still want to join the protests. Don't let anybody scare you. This is a country where you can speak up. Don't let anyone intimidate you with deportation. If anyone has collected money from you, this is the time to speak up. Tomorrow may be too late. The protesters displayed a banner featuring the faces of 30 individuals allegedly involved in COS scams, with the message, "Say no to UK COS scam." Faces of people scamming others with thousands of pounds for COS in the UK. Olabisi told journalists that about 10 protesters gathered in front of the Home Office, where an official advised them to submit a formal petition for their grievances to be addressed. The certificate of sponsorship is a visa scheme that allows licensed UK organizations to hire foreign workers. While COS should be free, many job seekers from overseas have fallen prey to fraudulent agents demanding exorbitant fees in exchange for sponsorship. Several victims who called into the TikTok live session narrated how a fraudster duped his friends out of £15,000. Wow, that's a lot of money. 15,000. Wow, that's bad. Yes, that's bad. Let's go on. The article continues. It says, my friend, along with his wife and two children, paid a whopping £15,000 to a guy in the UK for a certificate of sponsorship. I warned them not to, but they didn't listen. When they got to Manchester, oh, Manchester, really? Okay. They paid even more money to another person for the same COS. But nothing came out of it, he said. The issue here is those paying are aware. I think Home Office should do a thorough investigation on board. That's true. Good point there, Manny. All right. So let's continue with the article. So it says another victim. Now I cannot pronounce the name because it's African names. But I'll just say Zoji. If you want, you can find the article. It's in Metro News online. Okay. So another victim, Joy, lamented how she had struggled for 2 years after being scammed. I have been here for 2 years. That's in the UK. Yet no shifts from my employer after paying £10,000. £10,000. No shifts. I have only been managing 20-hour shifts from another employer, she said. All right, so let's hear what the next person said. Heartless, yes. It said a content creator, Musa Yunis, shared how her cousin was scammed out of £20,000. £20,000. She said, nah, £20,000 they collected from my cousin. Wicked people, she wrote. Other victims reported similar losses. I paid £12,000 and now the company has stopped taking my calls. Another one said, but how did they get that money? God, this is crazy. It is, MH, it is. And it is real. It is true. It is true. The length and breadth that these people go to find the money to pay for a COS, it's mind-blowing. I'm telling you, it is true. I do believe these stories. And the next one said, since I arrived in the UK, I have had no work. I have been struggling financially after paying £12,000 in debt for the COS. They are very evil people. £12,000 in debt for a COS. Another one said, I was scammed out of 8,500. Please, I need help recovering my money. Then the article went on to state that a TikToker by the name of Rita highlighted the widespread devastation caused by the scam. So Rita said, these scammers prey on people's vulnerabilities and take thousands of pounds from them. Some sold their properties, while others borrowed heavily just to raise the money, only to be scammed. Now, in the first place, there are lots of information online. Lots of information on the internet. Why would you pay these exorbitant fees for a COS just to come to the UK? And these are victims from Nigeria, from Africa. Why would you pay so much money just for a sponsorship to come to the UK? That's a red flag immediately. Information is free online. Look, I'm doing my videos, I'm educating, I'm passing knowledge. All you need to do is to go onto Google and look for all things legal with Sherry. Or you type in, if you're looking for a certain information, you type it in on YouTube or on Google and it pops up information for you. COS is free for potential employees. You don't pay for COS. Your employer pays for COS, not the employee. £12,000, £20,000 for a COS. But if you are at the beginning of my life, you would understand why people pay so much money for a COS. And I gave the example of Tom. Tom was in a desperate situation. Tom was in poverty. Tom was praying. Tom was crying. Tom was depressed. Tom needed a way out. And so when the church brother or the church sister after church approaches Tom and said, "Hey, Tom, I've got a good opportunities for you in the UK. I can get you a job in the UK." Tom felt like heaven. Tom felt like it was the best day of his life. Hey, I bego, like the Africans say, I'm going to get a job in the UK. I'm going to be making pounds. What should I do? And immediately, Tom will do anything, just to come to the UK. Kia is laughing. Just like these people paying 12,000, 20,000, 10,000 pounds, not naira. If you do the equivalent in naira, that's a lot of money just to get a COS to come to the UK and then to be left stranded. Due diligence. Do your checks. Go on to the Home Office website. Check the company is verified. Are you Nigerian? No, Willie, I'm not Nigerian, but I would love to go to Nigeria one of these days. Africa, actually. I would love to go there, but I'm not. But I'm discussing an article in Metro News about a recent protest last week, Thursday, in London by victims, potential victims, alleged victims. Let me use that word, alleged victims, who were scammed in Nigeria by agents for COS to come to the UK. So if you have just joined my live, this is what my topic is about. I'm dissecting and talking about the article. It's lovely having these sort of discussions. It brings awareness to anyone in Nigeria or Africa that is looking to pay exorbitant fees for a COS. So sometimes these topics are good. And as an immigration lawyer, I don't always want to come on and just be answering questions. No. Let me come on and have meaningful discussions like this, and everyone can learn something. All right? So if you have a brother or a sister, well, we're talking about Nigeria because the protesters are from Nigeria. That's why we're talking about Nigeria. So if you have a brother or a sister in Nigeria and they've been approached by an agent or they're trying to buy COS, speak to them. Send this live to them to be careful. Okay? Why can't they protest in Nigeria? Because they're here in the UK stranded. They're here in the UK homeless. They can go back to Nigeria and protest, but then who wants to go back to Nigeria and protest? So that's why they're protesting here. But rightfully, they can protest there as well. Because there are lots of people in Nigeria who paid for a sponsorship and never got it. Never got the sponsorship. So the money as we say in the Caribbean, the money went down the drain. That's what we say in the Caribbean. The money went down the drain. It disappeared because they never got the COS. Those who are lucky to get the COS came to the UK, but now they have no work, no shifts, no job. They don't even know who their employer is. That's how deep it gets. They don't know their employer. So that's what we're talking about, Willie. And the article is in Metro News. If you go onto Google and you Google Metro News, the article is there. So the article is what I'm talking about. Okay? So let's carry on. I'm almost finished with the article. So another protester said, these people charge between 12,000 to 20,000, but the victims arrive in the UK. But when the victims arrive in the UK, there is no job for them. Some even get their visas denied because they were given fake COS. And I just said that a while ago. After you've applied, after you've gotten your COS, the next step, you have to apply for your skilled worker visa. It's not guaranteed. Your skilled worker visa is not guaranteed for you. The Home Office do not have to give you a skilled worker visa because that's a whole different set of requirements that you need to meet. And so you would have paid £20,000 just for the COS. And then when it gets to the skilled worker visa stage, you are denied. Can you get the £20,000 back? No, you won't get it back. Thank you for liking the live, guys. As you join the live, you power tap, double tap. You would not share the live as well. You would not get the 20,000 back. And yet your visa has been denied. You're still in Nigeria. Okay? So be very careful. So let's go on. Let's finish the article. So it went on to say that the COS scam has been a growing issue with multiple investigations exposing the fraudulent network. So Sky News investigation in August 2023 revealed how many African migrants were tricked into paying large sums for fake job offers, leaving them stranded in the UK. Then Daily Mail investigation in 2024, a Baptist minister was caught on camera admitting to charging £9,000 to arrange a job within 3 days. A migrant testified that he paid £6,000, not naira, pounds in cash for a COS, but never received sponsorship. These are real life situations. Scamming is real. Wherever there's a loophole, people are finding these loopholes in the immigration system in the UK. And they're using it to their advantage. £6,000 paid for a COS and never received the sponsorship. It is as rough as it can be. This is the situation that's happening in Nigeria and in the UK, in Africa, all over the world. But we're talking about Nigeria tonight because this is what the article focused on. The protest that happened in London last week Thursday by victims who were scammed. Poor people like myself and you. It is a very, very unfortunate situation. Send this live to your friends and family in Nigeria and in Africa. Tell them, do not buy a COS. Do not pay for a COS. If an employer genuinely wants you to work for them, they would get you a COS. It's happening more by Nigerians, yes. And that's why they had this protest last week. And I agree with them by protesting. Because if A, B, C, D are in the same situation, then they need to come together. They need to support each other. They need to form a community. Because it's very rough in the UK when you're in this situation. And the reality of life is they cannot go back to Nigeria. Let me not use the word cannot. Yeah? But they do not want to go back to Nigeria. Because you have to look at it. Some of these people borrowed money to come here. How can they go back without paying off, without repaying the debts? How can they return to Nigeria without repaying the loans? Remember, people who loan them money to come here are poor people just like them. Yeah? Are people who don't have it either financially. But here what? Is my cousin. Is my neighbor. Is my sister. Is my brother. And my brother is going to the UK to make life better. So here what? I have a little £500 in the bank, or I have a little, how much naira? I'm going to take it. Here. Go and make life better and come back for us, or send money back for us. Now, how can you return to Nigeria and you haven't repaid your debts? Sometimes people are being threatened. People are being threatened from returning to Nigeria because they have not paid that outstanding money. It's a crime. Yes, it's a crime. And it's the reality of life. So it's not that they don't want to go back to Nigeria. They can go back to Nigeria. But some of them are being threatened. If they can't repay them, they need to repay the money. And because they are in a situation where they cannot go back to Nigeria, they're in the UK struggling to survive. But it's a very, very interesting conversation. It's a very, very interesting topic as well. Okay? Right, so it went on to, the article went further states, one of the individuals whose pictures appeared on the protest ban, Mojisola, denied any involvement in COS fraud. The allegations made against me on social media are completely false. So this is one of the alleged person who's involved in the fraudulent action. Allegations made against me on social media are completely false. I have taken legal action against my accuser at the King's Bench Division of the Royal Courts of Justice in London, she told Sunday Punch. The Nigerians in Diaspora Commission acknowledged the rising issue of visa scams, but stated that it was unaware of the London protests. Then another person affected individuals to pursue legal action stated they should tread cautiously as they protest and should not take the law into their own hands. They should remain law-abiding even as they register their displeasure, he said. As of press time, the UK Home Office had not responded to inquiries regarding the protests. So that's the end of the article there in regards to they have not heard anything from the Home Office as yet on this matter. All right? But the accusers, the alleged accusers have come forward to say, you know, they were not involved in any fraudulent activities. They have no idea of this, and they're bringing a claim against the protesters who accused them of being fraudulent. Okay? So That's the end of that article. You can find the article on just Google Metro News, and the headline of the article is Nigerians stage protests in London against rising cases of UK certificate of sponsorship scams. That's the headline. It's an ongoing issue, to be honest. It's nothing new, but it is increasing. All right. So if you're in Africa, particularly in Nigeria, remember what I'm going to say now. You do not pay for a COS. Okay? You do not pay for a COS to come to the UK to work. All right? COS are paid by the potential employer. Okay? The only thing you might pay for is your skilled worker visa application and just the application fee. But you do not pay for a COS. So if you are approached by any agent in Nigeria, no matter how desperate you are, no matter how vulnerable you are at the time, say no. There are genuine jobs in the UK, and there are genuine recruitment companies, there are genuine employers in the UK. Apply directly to a company or an employer. Do not go through an agent. Do the right thing and do it the right way. Avoid coming to the UK and to be a part of the protesters who have been scammed. Avoid coming to the UK on a COS that you've bought and then you end up in a situation where you're homeless. You have no food. Your mental health is affected. Try to avoid these situations. Do not pay for a COS, no matter how much you need to come to the UK. If you're in the UK already, what can you do now? Can you get your money back? It's going to be hard. It's impossible to get your money back. Okay? But what you can do if you're in the UK, there are help for you. Access the help. There are charity organizations that can offer you clothing, shelter, food. Speak to someone. There are immigration applications that you can make. Speak to a solicitor, speak to a lawyer. Get consultation. If you cannot pay for consultation, you can get a legal aid lawyer, which is a free lawyer. Do not stay in silence. Staying silent will not help you. It will just make you more depressed and maybe bring on anxiety, etc. Scammers would appear to be genuine, but they are scammers. That's why they appear to be genuine. They are scammers. The UK has increased its compliance laws. Lots of sponsor licenses are being revoked. So they are putting measures in place. The Home Office is putting measures in place to curb this issue. But you also need to do your part. Don't pay for a sponsorship and then come to the UK and act like you're blind. And act like you did not know. No. The red flags are there from the start. So that's my advice to you. That's my genuine advice to you. If you come to the UK, well aware of what you did, paid for sponsorship, then don't be a victim. You're not a victim. I've had people reaching out to me on TikTok, on YouTube, and the first thing they said to me, I want to work in the UK. How can I work in the UK? And you know what I say to them? I say, I'm not an agent. I'm not an agent. I said, I'm an immigration lawyer. I'm not an agent. I cannot give you work. And one person said to me, and that person is from Nigeria, she said, thanks for being honest. That's what she said to me. Either she or he said, thanks for being honest. They were desperate to pay anything if I can give them a COS. They are desperate and they need to stop and be wise, think before they act. Yes. Yes. Anyone that's looking to come to the UK to work, do so genuinely. Do not pay for a COS. Do not pay for a COS. That's my message tonight. Do not pay an agent for a COS. A COS is free. It's not, you don't pay for it. The employer pays for it, not you. Sometimes you won't pay for the COS, but the arrangement would be that you come and you work and you pay for it when you get here. Meaning that you'll be working for nothing. So you're like Billy Button. In the Caribbean, we say Billy Button work for nothing. Yeah? That's a saying. Billy Button work for nothing. So they would say to you, oh, you don't need to pay anything. But when you come to the UK, I'll take it from your pay. So you should be working for £3,000. You're getting 900 and 500 pounds. Say no. It's not worth it. The UK is cold already and depressing with this weather. And then to come here and to have immigration issues like such, it's not worth it. All right? So be careful. You do not pay for a COS. Do not be scammed. I did a video on this previously. I think I need to restream that video. All right? Do not be scammed. You will wish you stay in your country. Thank you, Yuri. That's very true. The UK is already, it's a beautiful place. Don't get me wrong. The UK is beautiful. England is lovely. But it's a cold country, especially if you're coming from the Caribbean or Africa where the weather is great. And then you come to this cold place. You already have enough with the weather. The last thing you need is immigration issues, especially in a situation where you knew from the beginning that you were paying for something. Like everywhere it have its pros and cons. Yes, it's pros and cons. Yes, that's true, Yuri. That's correct. Everywhere does. Everywhere does.